All right, what's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. Today is the 24th of February, 2026. This is Dante, my standard poodle. What we do here on the main side, one of our fourths to In The Image Clothing Company, is we allow the body to work, okay? We are designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ. We are a clothing company for anything that clothes the human being. Now, this can be anything: glasses, jewelry, hats, pants, tops, socks, and undergarments, whatever it is you place onto the body. Something placed onto something else is clothing it the way that God clothes the fields with grass. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no opinion, there's no sales pitch, there's no information, there's nothing we could take credit for with that under In The Image Clothing Company. But the human body is just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. The rock in space is our Earth, okay? There's a vertical pull to gravity, and there's a horizontal surface to the Earth. It's a perpendicular angle, and then we've got a center line to our bodies. The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw. The jaw is stabilizing the entire body. So this video's title is about the jaw. We put a lot of focus on the jaw under In The Image Clothing Company. We've got a lot of videos discussing the jaw before today's date under In The Image Clothing Company, but the video's title is The Importance of a Strong Jaw. Now, I'm not going to give you exercises on how to strengthen your jaw, but let's just talk about how and why our jaws, if they are getting altered in modern day. Because what happens is we've got things like this potentially: oversized clothing, imbalances of any kind in clothing, and there are many in modern day. Ropes introduced to the body, like shoelaces, drawstrings, anything tied one side over the other, in, on, or around the body. Probably not in the body, okay? But there's an airplane coming. Chronic patterning is what we get into. Scar tissue, bone spurs build up in the body, and we have to get out of these things, and that's really what we do under In The Image Clothing Company's main side here. We get out of this chronic patterning, and we often just wait out the airplane noise as the planes fly overhead, okay? Dante, come. Good. You did good. All right, anyway. Airplanes, okay. The human body, yeah, it's just got to do what it does and nothing else. There's no way you can possibly train the human being to get it to do anything. Bones are only the shape that they are. They're only the length that they are. And then we've just got them connecting to each other through ligaments with a thin layer of cartilage between them so they don't wear out, okay? Muscles connect to bones through tendons. Muscles pull only and directly in line. Okay, the human body only pulls. It's a huge focus that we discuss. Yeah, it's I'm actually kind of winded from running with Dante right there. But it's something we put a lot of focus on under In The Image Clothing Company because it's a misunderstanding. The human body can only ever pull. Even in what seems like a push, we're just pulling muscles together on the backside of a hinge joint to extend the hinge. We pull to close a hinge, or we pull to extend a hinge. The human body only pulls. So it's a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here we reference often, but we also just title our videos as phrases that we discuss and say often under In The Image Clothing Company, okay? Because that way we can spiderweb things together on all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company. It's all connected, and we can reference you two things easily, very easy. Easier than if we weren't to have done it that way in the first place. Okay, the point is with the jaw, okay? The importance of a strong jaw. The jaw needs to close. We've got a lot of videos already under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here about the jaw. Let me reference a few titles of videos under In The Image Clothing Company's main side about the human being's jaw, okay? The jaw is the shoulder. The importance of the corners of the mouth. The importance of even jaw musculature. The natural bite size. Looking down opposes bad posture. Seen with context though, okay? But there's 5 videos under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company here about the jaw. we just discuss the jaw a lot. Things like this, and some more videos here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company about the human being's jaw, the importance of snug collars, keeping collars centered, eating and drinking with the left hand, really just meaning non-dominant. In this right-handed world, we get into a patterning. We're just off to one side of our bodies when there's a center line to the body. Well, because of that reason, there's another video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company here titled, Because You're Right-Handed. And I know a lot about you, even though I've never met you, if I have never met you, because we live in this right-handed world with 85%, give or take, of us human beings just doing things with only one side of our bodies. Products are designed to be used with just one hand, and it's the right hand for 85%, give or take, of the human beings, right? It just makes sense to design products for the majority of the people's side of their body they'd be using things for. You know, rotated seams in clothing just rotated us to our right side most always. In modern day, we've got rotations and seams in ways we never had in the past because we've got robots stitching clothing in ways we never possibly could have had in the past. We've got clothing designs being shipped across the entire earth, and so people across our entire planet are wearing the same designs, and so any imbalance that's in a modern design is broad spread across our whole planet. Okay, so In The Image Clothing Company's rotated seam modification, In The Image Clothing Company's dreaded collar seam modification, these are some things we put huge focus on. A couple free modifications we give under In The Image Clothing Company, and we give a lot of free modifications in clothing to not alter the body, really to do what our slogan is here on our main site of In The Image Clothing Company, allow the body to work. Okay, allowing the body to work is our slogan. So we talk about the jaw a lot. The ears are essentially the jaw. Okay, we talk about not altering the ears, the importance of not pushing or pulling on the ears. A video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. The natural earlobe position. A video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. The importance of even ears. A video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. And I could probably go on, and I could, because the importance of small utensils. Another video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. But let's get into the discussion on a strong jaw. We don't need to work out our bodies. That would be opposing our slogan here with allowing the body to work under In The Image Clothing Company. We don't need to work out our bodies, but everything has a neutral position. Even just standing, we either lean left or we lean right from our neutral position, meshing with Earth's center of gravity meshing with the bones in the center line of our body, okay? So there's no opinion to have at all. It wouldn't matter. If I tried to sell you some opinion, who cares, right? Truth is truth, though. God is the truth, the same yesterday, today, and forever. We're designed in the image of God. There's only one way the human being works. No sales pitch, okay? It's the truth, though. We discuss it so thoroughly. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of video, 450 plus videos on the main site of In The Image Clothing Company alone as one of our fourths as of today's date. We've got over 1,000 videos on all four sides of In The Image Clothing Company combined as of today's date, the 24th of February, 2026. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It's just a mechanical machine. And the jaw needs to be unaltered, all right? So a strong jaw, the thing is, muscles close. Muscles pull together only. Stretch goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles in the body could ever possibly work. The only way the human body works is if the muscles work to stabilize the skeletal system, okay? The body's about its skeletal system's positioning because the bones only connect the way they do. And there's just a neutral to everything, okay? Keeping elbows at the natural waist is the shoulders at the neutral height, okay? Connected through the upper arm bone called the humerus. They can't go anywhere else besides where the other goes, the shoulder and the elbow. So keeping elbows at the natural waist, another huge thing we put focus on under In The Image Clothing Company, also a video's title under In The Image Clothing Company's main side here. But the body is being stabilized by our jaw. But muscles only pull or contract or get closer together. Muscle fibers fire, okay, and come together. Muscles just connect to bones at endpoints called insertions. well, called tendons, which are their insertions to the bones. They pull those 2 points directly in line together. That's it. That's the only thing the human body could ever do, really. I mean, there's only one way the human body could ever possibly mechanically operate. It's just a mechanical machine. That's our focus under In The Image Clothing Company. We're only about clothing because it's the only thing physically placed onto the human body. It's about allowing the body to work. So, I mean, we'll always have good clothing available once we do, you know, staying centered, fitting correct, and being made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials. Same with In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, another one of our forwards with letting dogs stay natural. Collars, leashes, harnesses, these things are clothing for dogs, right? Bandanas, slip leads, whatever it is placed onto a dog in any way at all, clothing, okay? So, we just need to not alter the body. And the jaw has a lot of musculature. The jaw has musculature that goes up to the crown of our head, up above our ears, to almost the top of our head on the sides of it. The jaw has musculature from this lower jaw bone called the mandible that's just hinging like this. Okay, right in front of our ears here, the lower jaw bone connects to the skull. And then there's musculature coming from the lower jaw bone to the cheek bones of the skull, musculature coming from the jaw down to the shoulders, down to the upper ribs. That's why we have that video titled "The Jaw is the Shoulder," because it is. You know, keeping collars centered and the importance of snug collars, those you know, phrasings and those video titles under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. Watch my jaw and my collars of my top. Okay? The jaw is connected to the shoulder through musculature and tendons, and that's going through the collars of our top. And so our clothing is determining our jaw's positioning directly. Okay? Gravity has the same effect on our clothing as it has on our bodies. Anything placed onto our bodies is clothing them, and so our clothing is always on our bodies, just about, at least, okay? It has to stay centered. It's got to fit correct. It's got to be made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials. We've got joints of clothing seams and joints of body parts that need to mesh, all right? There's only one way the human body could possibly ever work. You will never train it to do anything. You'll never get enough of what's not for you. People keep stretching, they keep working out, they keep trying to get their body to do something because they're trying to keep up with something they'll never even possibly get to. It's just a machine of bones. Bones are just immovable sticks by themselves, essentially. It's essentially just a stick, is what I mean. But then they can move where they connect to another bone. That's all it'll ever do, the human being. And muscles only pull and directly in line. You'll never possibly train it to do anything. And there's a lot of context we give with that under In The Image Clothing Company. No possible claim to that. So, yeah, allowing the body to work, the jaw is stabilizing the entire body. But our jaw has to close. And so if our shoulders drop down, they'll pull on our jaw. Our jaw is connected to our shoulders, okay? So, oversized tops and the collarbone is a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. Internal rotation is lifting, external rotation is dropping, is a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. Lifting the right side of the body is a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. There's a lot of this, but the collarbone or the clavicle from the top of the sternum in the front of the body where the ribs connect into, okay, this bone called the sternum in the center of the front of our chest. At the top of the sternum, the collarbone or clavicle connects. It's a bone that then comes up and out to the edge peak of the shoulder. It becomes the shoulder. It's one of the three bones of the shoulder, okay? As the collarbone pivots up and in, we have internal rotation down the arm. As the collarbone pivots down and out, we have external rotation down the arm, and they're only doing these two things. It's either going up and in or it's going down and out, because the collarbone connects directly to bones on both ends of it, both ends of the collarbone. It connects to the sternum in the center, directly bone to bone, and on the outside of the body, it connects directly to the upper arm bone called the humerus and the scapula called the shoulder blade, directly bone to bone on both ends of the collarbone or clavicle, okay? So what we have is the jaw having to close. But as the jaw closes, the jaw is connected to the shoulders. And so the jaw can't close if the shoulders can't rise. As the shoulders rise, they come both up and in because we pivot on this collarbone. That's determining where the shoulder goes, okay? The scapula or shoulder blade on the back also determines where the shoulder goes, but the collarbone is just directly to bone on both ends. It either pivots up and in or it pivots down and out. So if our clothing is oversized, that's why I referenced that video, right? Oversized tops and the collarbone, it'll just pull down on our collarbones, and that pulls our collarbones out away from our bodies. Collarbone or clavicle, same name, same bone, two different names for it. Our jaw being connected to our shoulder directly is getting pulled open. Okay, so we have to be able to lift our shoulders up to close our jaw. There's an airplane again. Good boy, Dante, good. It's raining just a little bit. All right, so yeah, the shoulders dropping, being pulled down on by an oversized top, for example, with just gravity pulling on the top is placed on top of our shoulders. It's pulling down on our shoulders as well. There's a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company titled "Oversized Clothing is Not a Choice," meaning you don't have a choice to have your body possibly mechanically, physically operate within oversized clothing, because we have joints of clothing material meshing with joints of our body parts. They have to be in the same location, or the body's just trying to work around them, and then patterning gets created in the body, and compensation is trying to happen in the body. But the human body can only ever work activated as a whole. Everything has its own individual role to play. No compensation can be had with something trying to make up for the role of something else when everything just has a different function. So our jaw has to close. When I talk about a strong jaw in this video, the video's titled "The Importance of a Strong Jaw" here on the main site of In The Image Clothing Company on the 24th of February 2026. The jaw being strong is the jaw just having its full level of contraction, which in the jaw's case is just closure, meaning the jaw closing all the way. The lower jawbone, called the mandible, just coming up all the way with its full contraction of its musculature, the musculature fully firing or pulling together, okay? And we pull from the top of the head, just about, from the crown of the head up here is where we're pulling up from when it comes to this lower jawbone called the mandible. The musculature is connecting up to the crown of the head. Okay, so we talk about things like this, right? Oversized clothing makes life hard. The word hard on that video is in all capital letters under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. The same skin on the top of the head of the human being is the same skin on the tip of the toes of the human being. It's the same skin on the fingertips of the human being. There's a video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company here titled "The Epidermis," which is an organ. It's the skin of the body, okay? There's a lot to the skin of the body, but it needs to have its normal amount of elasticity or ability to move in all the ways it does. Like on the back of the wrist, we can watch as the wrist bends down, the skin has to be able to move around the wrist's motion to allow for the motion. As we bend our elbow, the skin on our elbow has to be able to move around the bones of the elbow to allow for the motion. Same with the knees. These are locations where you can see this happening clearly. On the knees, as you bend the knee, the skin around the kneecap or the patella has to be able to move around the knee to allow for the motion to happen. So if we have our shoulders being pulled down from oversized tops, it's pulling down on all of the skin from the top of our head down to our shoulders, everything in between there, and what's in between there is our jaw. So we've got a lot of little muscles on the face. Videos under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company are titled these, okay, to do with the muscles of the face and parts of the human head. The importance of even nostrils, the importance of even eyebrows, and then the other ones that I referenced about the head in this video as well. There's a lot with our face, which is where things like, quote, posture problems, unquote, come from in the human being. There's only one way the human body could possibly ever physically, mechanically operate. But if we're in patterning, Well, a lot of it is coming from the human head. A lot of it is coming from the jaw's positioning. If the jaw is not centered through dental work, okay? There's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast where we have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ titled The Root Canal Story. And my jaw was very imbalanced for many years. A lot of it was a lot to do with the dental work that I had. You know, orthodontia with braces for the teeth, that as well. You know, if our jaw is imbalanced, even through just eating on only one side of our body, even just through having imbalanced collars on our necks, you know, tags in clothing, we need to remove all tags from clothing. That's one of our 2 prerequisites under In the Image Clothing Company, in addition to just where clothing sits baseline, to not alter our bodies. For every body who has one, or everyone who has a body, every human being, there's a universal human design, and we just place something on it to clothe it with. It has to work for the body. Okay, this is the point of In the Image Clothing Company's main side with allowing the body to work. Clothing, okay, staying centered, fitting correct, being made in all the ways we can from 100% natural materials, and we get in depth with it, but, you know, it's just what it is. What I'm saying is the jaw has to close. If we can't close our jaw because our shoulders are being pulled down, which is pulling on our jaw, and if our shoulders are being pulled down, it's pulling down on the skin surrounding our jaw and our whole head, then we can never actually fully close our jaw. If we have dental work that's not allowing our teeth to mesh correctly because it hasn't been done very properly or well, or it was done within a positioning of our jaw that was already imbalanced through patterning in clothing, okay, or whatever it could possibly be, not allowing the jaw to fully close, we will not be able to have a strong jaw. And the point with the strong jaw is the jaw stabilizes the entire body. The jaw essentially in ways lifts the shoulders and the upper ribs, kind of essentially lifts the collarbone up and in. And the jaw really definitely determines breathing. As we say under In the Image Clothing Company, we just make it clear this is just the truth apart from all of us. The jaw is eating, stabilization of the entire body, breathing and speaking, whatever else we could say the roles are that the jaw plays within the entire body, those things it does for sure. So the jaw plays a lot of functions, a lot of different functions in the body. It just has to be able to close all the way and fully, and it will never happen. It will not possibly happen if your shoulders can't rise. Your jaw is connected to your shoulders. Your shoulders are connected to your rib cage, and your jaw is connected to your upper ribs. This is all only going to happen one way. There is only one neutral position for the entire body. As I was showing a few minutes ago here, however long ago it was, the elbows at the natural waist is the shoulder at their neutral height, and there's just only one way the body can possibly ever physically, mechanically operate. If we never altered the human being, it would just work within our own individualistic situations. Amputation, birth defect, major surgery, whatever else I normally say. Okay, anything at all is the point that alters your body, has or might a little bit or quite a bit. Maybe your body's set apart from others, but there is this universal human design. We have to get as close as we can to it in all of our individualistic situations because of things like breathing, stabilizing the entire body through every breath we take, okay, is what we do as human beings. Also, just Earth's vertical gravity pull, the fact that there is a center line to the body, it's immovable bone, there's no possible opinion to it, and there is 2 sides to the body. We have to just keep our body centered in all the ways we possibly can, and this comes from getting out of patterning that has been created, or things like, yeah, maybe a birth defect, doing all we can to get the body to be as aligned as we can, just for the sake of it functioning, okay? For a good quality of life, right? This is the reason we have In the Image Clothing Company and has been since the very founding. So the jaw has to close. The jaw has to just be able to get all the way closed, and that means the shoulders have to be able to rise. The shoulders have to rest in their neutral positions and not be too low, and they need to be able to come all the way up as well, just rest in their neutral positions. But a lot of this can come from the feet. The jaw can't fully close if the feet can't fully rise in those gripped arches. We have feet that oppose the center line of our bodies, gripping arches inward, and that's how we stay vertical, standing on Earth's gravity pulling us down, okay? So if we've got shoelacing techniques that are altering the way the top of the feet can rise, because our arches in our feet rise up as they grip, as our feet activate to support our bodies, they get taller, okay? We've got a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company titled The Height of a Gripped Arch. We have a lot of videos under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company here talking about the feet, but I mentioned removing all tags from clothing. Our second prerequisite under In The Image Clothing Company to not alter the body in addition to just where clothing sits, baseline, is In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. No opinion, nothing that we own, nothing we could possibly take credit for as In The Image Clothing Company, but we're just weaving ropes across the top of our feet. There's only one way the top of the feet are shaped, with all those bones, ligaments, tendons, and muscles gripping arches in the feet, okay? The top of the feet is half their function. Dorsiflexion, lifting the toes, from the other end, which is pointing the toes, or plantar flexion. So the surface of the earth is the neutral, okay? Zero drop, the term in any brand of shoe, just means flat on the bottom, as if we never had man-made shoes placed onto our feet. And then we've got that neutral from pointing the toes, plantar flexion, or lifting the toes, dorsiflexion. The bottom end is the zero drop term in shoe brand or shoe model design. Anyway, what I'm saying is what I'm saying. I'm just trying to get through this video quick because this device is telling me there's 10% left in the battery remaining. Also, I'm pretty cold, and I'm just trying to make sure I can get, through all the information I need to about the jaw while still giving context on other things as well that can be thrown into this video as well under In The Image Clothing Company and what we're really doing. So with the jaw not being able to close fully, it's not only coming from something like dental work with, things in the way, actually in the mouth, not allowing the jaw to close fully. It's coming from the shoulders, if it can be, not fully being able to rise. It's coming from, if it can be, your hips in an unnatural position, just having an imbalance of musculature in your body to not be in this neutral position of the pelvis or hips, which is horizontal, the same position as beneath them, the feet on the surface of the earth. The body has opposing bends. The ankles bend backward, the knees bend forward, the hips bend backward, the low back bends forward, the mid back bends backward, and then the upper back, which is really the neck, just bends forward. Even mathematical opposing bends to stay vertical on Earth's vertical gravity pull. The human body is just mechanics. Is a video's title here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. We discuss mechanics, physics, and mathematics with the human being under In The Image Clothing Company. There's only one way the human body could ever possibly work. There's no opinion that could ever possibly matter to it. What I'm saying is, if your jaw is not able to close and stabilize your entire body, it can come from your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your feet, your hands, golly, man. The importance of the same size hands, a video here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. There's so much that goes into this. I just want to make it very clear, we need a strong jaw. Not that you could ever possibly work your jaw out and have it last. Any workouts you ever do, once you stop, you immediately go back to the human body's only normal, meaning it starts right then. Your body starts to lose the muscle mass you have gained. The hypertrophy you've trained to will just atrophy and go away on the other end immediately after you stop working out. So there's only a normal resting heart rate, resting respiratory rate, which is the breathing amount of times per minute we breathe, everything in the body temperature, everything. There's only a resting, there's only a normal. Natural, neutral, and normal synonyms within the human being. My hands are cold, so I can't move them quite fully right now, but that's what I'm saying, a normal body temperature, or the body just doesn't work very well. There's only one way the human body could ever possibly work, and this is what we do under In The Image Clothing Company. So the jaw just has to be able to have its full range of motion. We have to be able to look all the way up and all the way down, and the jaw goes left and right from the center. It's stabilizing in the center, but it has to be able to move to both sides. And this is coming from our shoulders, hips, feet, hands, the top of the head of the human being. It's coming from everywhere in the body. It's not about trying to chew on something to strengthen your jaw. I'm just making it very clear, we need our jaw to be strong in its neutral centered position. And how do we do this? We never alter the body in the first place, if that can be an option. Okay, But we get out of patterning in the body to get the body to an unaltered state. There's no possible way to get it to do anything, but clothing placed onto the body just has to fit it properly, the only way it works. So, a strong jaw. When we chew things, sometimes you'll notice if you do, people chew something and they'll just kind of take a bite and just very casually like break something off of something else, right? If you're eating something is what I'm saying. We need to fully close our jaw. Each time that we chew, the teeth need to come all the way together. And so it's not about having a perfect looking smile, right? With your teeth meshing all beautifully, visually perfect. It's just about being able to actually close your teeth together. You're just hinging a bone on your skull. The lower jaw bone, called the mandible, is just hinging on this skull, and it needs to hinge all the way up or closed, which is just opposing Earth's gravity's pull. Gravity's always pulling down on us. We talk about gravity so much under In the Image Clothing Company. A lot of that is what, a lot of the human body is just dealing with gravity. The jaw closing or having a strong jaw is just opposing gravity. That's all it is. You're lifting your jaw up. That's it. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing to train to. It's impossible to. Or you can get it as strong as you want until you stop trying to get it stronger than it just is. It'll just go back to as strong as it is naturally. There's only a natural, only a neutral, only a normal for the human being. There's no possible opinion to ever have on this. It's God's design since always. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. The human body will always and has always been the exact same. So we just can't alter it. If you're pulling down on your shoulders at all, you're pulling down on your jaw. And pulling down on your jaw is just pulling your jaw open. Opening muscles is weakening muscles. Muscles only pull or contract or fire. Synonyms really in this way. They only close. They only get closer together. The jaw only lifts. The only other end is just deactivation and relaxing of the jaw. And the jaw will drop. So the jaw has to lift. The jaw has to close all the way. And then we have this light natural suction of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. But the tongue connects to the lower jaw bone. And so the tongue has to come up as well, opposing Earth's gravity. And it's not going to happen if your shoulders are dropped. If you're wearing oversized clothing, your shoulders are dropped. If you have an imbalance in your top's collar, you're going to have imbalances in musculature around your head, neck, and jaw. What neck pain really is. A video I filmed in the fall of 2025 in St. George, Utah, out there on those beautiful red rocks, okay? The importance of even jaw musculature I actually filmed down there as well, St. George, Utah, in the fall of 2025. What I'm saying is, it was November of 2025, but even jaw musculature, you can't have a strong jaw if it's not even. You can't be a strong person physically if you're not centered. You can gain all the muscle mass you want and train your muscles, but if you're just in a twist and an imbalance, it doesn't really matter. Your body can't work properly. It's going to just cause pain and problems and damage to joints, and your body will be not happy with you. Yeah, you can't really be all that strong no matter how much muscle you try to gain or how much strength you try to acquire. If your body is just not working the only way it can possibly work, it's just over Earth's center of gravity, and there's just a neutral height to things. There's a neutral position to everything. There's only one way the human body could ever possibly work. So the jaw just has to close. The jaw only closes by lifting. The jaw is connected to the shoulders, but it can also come from anywhere in the entire body. Because if you're wearing shoes with shoe lacing techniques that are just not the shape of the top of your feet, and they're just pushing down on your feet, we've got different length toes, and there's a lot in the feet. There's only one way the feet work. That's another video I filmed down in beautiful St. George, Utah in November of 2025. I filmed it back to back with there was only one way the hands work. And it's the truth, right? The bones are only the shape they are in the entire body. Same with the muscles. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, if your feet can't lift, your jaw can't close. If your feet can't rise and grip the ground with those gripped arches, just because as arches grip in the feet rise up. If you've got shoelacing techniques on top of your feet that as you cinch the laces down, it pushes down on your feet, you'll never close your jaw. Your jaw will constantly and chronically be stuck down or open, and you'll have a weak jaw just because the musculature has to close all the way to really work, and so it's just partially open and not working fully. It'll just be weak. And the problem with that is then your body can't be stabilized from your jaw, and then you've just got damage throughout your whole body, compensation trying to happen throughout your whole body, patterning throughout your whole body, dropped shoulders, right, coming from your feet, but then, you know, to your jaw. You just have to have a strong jaw, meaning an unaltered jaw. The jaw is very strong naturally. We've got a lot of bite force as human beings. You know, you can bite through things. And what I was saying with chewing things is we need to fully chew. Every time you close your teeth together, you need to close them all the way together. We need to really, 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 really thoroughly chew our food. Digestion starts in the mouth. Saliva in the mouth is the first form of digestion for the body, but really we can say the teeth just grinding down and breaking down food into basically as small of pieces as we can before we swallow it. You know, that's the first form of digestion before our food actually ever gets into our body's abdomen down here. So we need to fully chew our food. And that's a big reason why people aren't fully chewing their food in modern day, is because of things like stretch and clothing. They just didn't even exist tens of years ago from today's date, the 24th of February, 2026. Stretch and clothing goes the opposite direction of the only way that muscles could ever work. And so our shoulders are just chronically dropped in oversized clothing or just stretchy clothing that fits you correct. Your shoulders musculature just can't activate properly. And then your jaw is going to be chronically open, loose, deactivated, and weak, and not able to stabilize your body. All right? I talk about this with the jaw. You can hear it in the way that people can articulate their words well. I can articulate my words very well. A lot of that is to do with the fact that I'm a lyricist. You know, In The Image Clothing Company Music, another one of our fourths. If I didn't already mention it in this video, I filmed another video right here on In The Image Clothing Company Poodles before this one. But anyway, you know, showing the sizing and setup of guitar to not alter things like the neutral wrist and the rounding in our hands that correlates with the arches in our feet. Lyricism, spoken word, rhythm and poetry, singing, guitar playing, music geared around the gospel of Jesus Christ with the messages on In The Image Clothing Company Music. But when people can articulate their words well, and when people can, you know, just have natural motion in their neck, when people can not be overly thirsty, you know, people don't get dehydrated if you can naturally seal your mouth, and your mouth seals by your tongue, not by closing your teeth together or even your lips together. Your teeth should naturally be slightly parted so the musculature of your jaw can stabilize your entire body. The mouth seals by the tongue, suctioning to the roof of the mouth. But if your jaw can't lift, then your tongue can't lift. Your tongue can't even seal your mouth. You're going to drink more than you would ever need to because you'll feel dehydrated. Then maybe you're drinking just plain, quote, purified, unquote, water, which is actually dehydrating you because all the natural minerals and electrolytes have been extracted from that stuff. Yikes, we get into it in depth, okay? There's an episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast titled Hydration Truths. I think it's episode 16 or 17. Okay, we're on episode 204 of In The Image Clothing Company podcast as of today's date, the 24th of February, 2026. What I'm saying is we need a strong jaw. This is the same for our dogs on In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, but the jaw needs to be strong. Okay, this comes through sleeping as well, though. We talk about sleeping with no pillow because if you sleep with a pillow, well, you're pushing your head out of its neutral position for the entire time you're sleeping, and then you try to stand in daily life with your head in a neutral position after you slept with your head pushed out of its neutral position. But then also, man, that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's a huge point. Sleeping. Sleeping Truths, an episode title of In the Image Clothing Company podcast as well. Okay, one of those earlier ones. Yeah, okay. When we're sleeping on a pillow and we have it against our jaw, it's pushing our jaw out of its neutral position. The jaw needs to be stabilizing the entire body. Even while we're asleep, our musculature is still activated. In order to breathe, you have to activate muscles to open this void space in our body for the exchange of gases to happen. Oxygen comes in and carbon dioxide goes out as we breathe. Diaphragms are muscles that we use to cause that to happen. So even while you're asleep, your musculature is still activated and your jaw is still stabilizing your entire body. And so a lot of this comes through sleeping with no pillow, right? Just keeping a strong jaw. There's a lot to this, you know? So yeah, I mean, tags in the rear of the top of your clothing item, okay? The natural curve in the spine. A video under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company here. It goes right along with the natural bend in the knee. Another video under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company here, but these things are directly affected by something like the tag that's very commonly around this time period in the rear of our top's collar, right on our spine, okay? But anywhere down throughout the entire body, anything that is altered, making the body be out of its center line, well, the jaw is in the center line of the body and it's stabilizing everything else through the whole body. So anything else through the whole body that's altered can affect the jaw's positioning. This is what I'm saying. We put so much focus on the jaw under In the Image Clothing Company. There's a video that I made and placed under In the Image Clothing Company's main site here at one point that was titled, if it's still there or not is the point of why I'm like saying it how I am, workouts don't help the jaw. If your jaw's not in the center of your body, it doesn't matter. You can work out everything in your body all you want. Your jaw still has to stabilize your whole body, and it's only going to be able to do that in the position that it's in currently. And there's only a center line, but if your jaw is within patterning and not centered, then your whole body is just not going to be centered either. The jaw just plays such a massive role in the entire body. The neutral head position, a video under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company. We've got this ball of like a 10-pound, give or take, weight, which is our human head, placed clear on the top of our entire bodies. When we're just standing with our arms down at our sides, we have to stabilize this ball of weight, and it is the jaw that is doing that. It's also the feet, and it's the whole body as an entirety, but the jaw is stabilizing the whole weight of the head